Hey, good morning, everyone. Today is day 14 of the 21 days to releasing fear of the future. And the request today was about finding work and finding a new place to live. And so what I would say is, especially in the current economy and the world pandemic and all that, it can feel impossible to find work, and it might feel impossible, depending on where you live, to find a new place to live. So where I always say is, this would be your check-in. How possible does it feel? 0 to 10, like 10 is totally possible, 0 is not at all. How possible does it feel that you could find work and you could find a place that you really like to live, and both? Like, how possible? So it's totally possible. Yeah, it's 10. It's totally possible. Hey, Janine. Mwah. It's totally possible. And to find a place that you really like to live, how possible does that feel? Like, tune in. It's totally possible. And then notice how it feels in your body, how it feels to you. And I'll tell you a quick story. I had a client years ago that she had her mortgage was due, and work had really slowed down. So she was like, it's due today, and I don't have it. And I said, well, how possible does it feel that even by the end of the day, you could possibly have like a solution for this? And she's like, it doesn't feel possible at all. So we tapped, and it's impossible, it's possible. We did some argue tapping on it, which we'll do here. And then I got an email from her. It was probably like 11:30 that night, saying, I have to tell you about an interesting series of events. And long and short of it, she was her boss opened up space for her to have more business and gave her first right of refusal. First options to do this new facility that was opening up. So she goes, so the money's like not in my hands right now, but it will be. And that's what's possible when we soften and release what seems to be impossible. And the way I see this is who we truly are meant to be. From a broader perspective, call it a spiritual perspective, we are meant to live in possibility. We are meant to know that things can come. But the problem in our culture is, especially in some of the personal development world, is the ego's agenda ends up getting pushed. And I love this quote, which I've said so many times, by a woman, Tosha Silver. The problem with most personal development programs is they're all about creating a stronger ego. So the ego culture is, it's up to me. I got to make it happen. I got to push harder. All the quotes about hard work, they're pushing the ego's agenda. We are enculturated to believe that hard work is going to get us what we want. And I suspect you, like me, know tons of people that have worked hard their whole life and they don't have those things that they want. So if hard work really got it done for everybody, everyone that worked hard would have it. So that's pushing the ego's agenda. It's like hard work will make it happen, and you've got to get out there looking for a job, and you can listen to that culture and it'll tell you, you get out there and you've got to make finding a job a full-time job. That's the ego agenda. And what if it's possible that you could actually go get a coffee somewhere, and all of a sudden you're standing in line and you overhear something, and it's like there's information there on a job for you, or you overhear something about, oh God, there's a place. There's another story, actually, this woman Tosha talked about, is she lives in the Bay Area, but she was looking for a new place to live, and she just put the intention out there, like, if it's meant to come to me, let it come to me with ease. She was literally walking down the street, and she saw a guy putting a for rent sign on this place, and she's like, hey, can I take a look at that? It was a penthouse. Like, it would not have been, quote, in her price range. Oh, powerful, this is a light bulb moment. Great, Janine. It was like, it would not have been in her price range. And he took her up there, they talked, he showed her around, and he said, you know what? I really like you, and it's more important that I like the person that I rent to. So what do you need to make this work? And she ended up living there for like 3 years. That's what's possible when we disengage from the ego culture that we live in, the agenda of the culture that we live in, and we come back to who we truly are. And that's when we go, we are all the same in that way. Every single one of us. We might come in different colors, different shapes, different sizes, different genders, different sexual orientation, different socioeconomic status, but we really are all within us, have this within us. We've just learned to fall asleep to the truth of our being. And how could we not? Because that's what the culture feeds us day after day after day. So let's tap. Karate chop. Even though I have this fear about finding work, and work I really enjoy, I choose to honor I feel this way now. Even though I have fear that it's impossible or hard to find work, especially in these uncertain times, I choose to honor these feelings now. Even though I have this belief, it's going to be hard to find a place to live that really works for me. But I'm open to seeing this differently now. Go to the eyebrow. It's going to be hard. But what if it doesn't have to be? It's going to be hard to find work. And work that I like. And it's going to be hard to find an apartment or a home that I'll love living in. And what if the only thing that stands in my way here is a faulty belief system that's like the clouds blocking the sun? What if I'm meant to live a good life? I'm meant to have a good place to live. I'm meant to have work I enjoy. But that feels so impossible because the culture I live in feeds me limitation every single day and all day long. You've got to make it a full-time job. Finding a job. You've got to make full-time work out of finding a place to live. These thoughts suck. They don't feel good. And of course they don't. Because that's the voice of the bully that pushes the ego's agenda. So what if I can start unhooking from that punitive, tyrannical voice within that's constantly telling me what limits I'm up against. And what if, as I catch this voice in the act of placing limits on me again and again, I start to open up to greater possibilities than that voice within me can come up with. Constantly throwing limitation. And as I soothe and soften these limitations, I create the space and I create the opening for greater possibilities than that punitive part of me, that bully in my brain, could ever come up with. So I like the idea that as I soften these limitations, the great job I want and the perfect place to live are already chosen for me. And I'll know that and see that as I keep softening those limiting thoughts that tell me it's not possible. Because I'm starting to see it really is possible. So take a breath. And that's what I see. That's why I love tapping, because it can be like we just tap for the very human part of us that believes the limitations, that's programmed for limitations, that's in the way of all that. And my girlfriend sent this to me. It's from Jeff Brown is his name. It's a book called Soul Shaping. And I love this about busyness, because even that, you got to finding a job, a full-time job. You got to get out there and pound the pavement and look at all these places to live. What if that doesn't have to be true? We just stay busy because the ego's agenda, the bully's pushing like, oh, make it happen, and we feel bad. And the energy is not good in us about that, so we're literally blocking possibility. It's kind of like I said, if you see a new car that you've never seen before, all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere. Because now it's there's a space, you're like, I didn't even know that was there. And now you see it everywhere. But when we have these clouds of limitations in the way, we can't see what's right in front of us because of the limitations that are in our place. So as we soften, you don't have to get rid of the limitations. You don't have to be perfectly aligned with the perfect place or the perfect job. Just softening the limits and the resistance is enough to create the space for other possibilities to come. So this is from Soul Shaping by Jeff Brown. The glorification of busy will destroy us. Without space for healing, without time for reflection, without an opportunity to surrender, we risk a complete disconnect from the authentic self. We burn out on the fuels of willfulness. And that's why I was saying the ego pushes willfulness. If it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm the one that's got to make it happen. Surrender is, I'm offering this up for a greater possibility, for the perfect solution to show up for me. Decisions get made through me rather than by me. So we burn out on the fuels of willfulness and eventually cannot find our way back to center. And when we lose contact with our core, we are ripe for the picking by an unconscious media and other market forces. After all, consumerism preys on the uncentered. The further we are from our intuitive knowing, the more easily manipulated we are, and the more likely we are to make decisions and affix to goals that don't serve our healing and transformation. To combat this, we have to form the conscious intention to prioritize our inner lives, to step back from the fires of overwhelm and remember ourselves. It may feel counterintuitive in a culture that is speed addicted, but the slower we move, the faster we return home. That is so beautiful. And it's so really and this is what I say, unhooking from a crazy culture that's pushing and consumerism and fast speed, it's challenging because we're so, it can feel like you're going to crawl out of your skin because it's so familiar and it's so imprinted. This has so been my journey with this. I catch myself all the time like, oh yeah, I've got it. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Marti, you just got to take a step back. For me, it can feel literally like I'm going to peel out of my skin, just sitting back and practicing, and it is a practice, trusting that what I need will come. And the more I practice that, even in the face of people around me going, you got to make it happen. It's amazing how I feel those continuous inner shifts that are helping me see the little bread crumbs and all the little winks that are like, you're in the right direction. So, Janine, much love to you. I think we've had many lifetimes together, my friend, and it feels that way to me. And everyone else, take good care. And if you found this helpful, and thank you for the tap on this as many times as you need to. And then we'll be back on Monday with day 15. Bye for now. Have a great weekend.